They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
All right, guys. I am sure every single fantasy basketball podcast y'all have listened to over the past week or so have been talking about who they think should be in the NBA All-Star game. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come out here and I'm going to look at what these players have done through the first half of the season, and strictly from a fantasy basketball perspective, regardless of what their team's record is, regardless of how much they are contributing to actual wins on the basketball court, we are going to be looking at what they've been doing for our fantasy basketball lineups and creating all-star teams that way. And also in this video, I'm going to try my best to actually get some film of these players in the corner sporadically throughout the video. So if you like that, if you want more of that, please, you have to tell me down in the comment section, because it's a ton of work. So if y'all really don't like it and it doesn't add a lot to the videos, I'm not going to do it going forward. But if it's something y'all want, then you know that's what I'm going to do. And on top of it, while you're down there in the comment section, ask me any fantasy basketball question you may have. And you know, once we hit 100 likes on the video, I'm going to go through and answer every single question that I see. Well, that's it. And this video, we are going to be going through the Eastern Conference. So let's start it off with the starting players for the Eastern Conference Fantasy All-Star team. And our first player is going to be arguably one of the best values you got in fantasy basketball this season, arguably the MVP of the real NBA through the first half, and this is Joelle Embiid. Okay, so generally we know that some of these players are going to be a lot better for a points league, a lot better for a category league, but in the case of Joelle Embiid, he is providing you everything that you would want, whatever your league settings are, because we go to his raw numbers. He's giving you about 30 points a game, over 10 rebounds a game, closing in on 11. He's giving you 3 assists, and we know with Joelle Embiid, the defensive statistics are going to be there every single season, so we don't even need to bother bringing those up. But for those category leagues at the same time, Joelle Embiid has also been coming through with very high levels of efficiency, where he is getting to the free throw line so many times every night, and he's knocking down about 85% of them so far. And with his percentage from the field, it's closing in on 55%. I mean, if you're looking at the amount of shots that he is putting up and this efficiency that's coming along with it, it's hard to argue for anybody else to be the MVP of the 2021 basketball season so far. And I understand that we are talking fantasy basketball here, but it doesn't matter. Whatever we are talking about, Joelle Embiid has earned himself a spot, has also managed to stay 100% healthy throughout the course of the season. And we know that's something that's always going to have to be monitored with Joelle Embiid. But if he can continue just being extremely healthy, if he can continue being this productive, there's no way that you are not making it to your fantasy playoffs if you decided to draft Joelle Embiid in 2021. All right, so now our next player, also someone that went at the beginning of drafts but was still a massive value, is going to be Kevin Durant. Okay, so with KD, I think we all had the same question coming into the season. What was the Achilles going to be like? Was he going to be 100% back to what he was prior? And how many games, how many minutes was Kevin Durant actually going to be on the court? And really, I have been very, very surprised with Kevin Durant, where he is averaging over 36 minutes a game right now. I don't know why. I don't agree with Steve Nash in deciding to play Kevin Durant this much, even though the Brooklyn Nets really don't have an option. As if you look at the roster and the defensive big men that they have, Kevin Durant is the best defender on the team, so he's been having to log a ridiculous amount of minutes. But we're not going to be focusing in on the defensive side of Kevin Durant's game. What we need to look at is we need to look at the fact that, very similar to Joelle Embiid, he's dropping 30 points a game with extremely high levels of efficiency. Kevin Durant right now, about 87% from the free throw line, 53% from the field, And we know that KD is going to be coming through with both assists and rebounds to go along with this elite level production. So Kevin Durant, congrats. That's all I have to say. One of my favorite players, if not my favorite player in the NBA. I'm going to be wishing him the best throughout the rest of the season. All right, so now our next player that we are going to bring up is someone that it's going to be a little bit harder to come out here and say that we are wishing him the best, and this is James Harden. Okay, so with James Harden, 38 minutes a game right now. What is going on in Brooklyn? Why is James Harden seeing 38 minutes a game? But James Harden has kind of transformed his game to where he is not putting up nearly the amount of shots that he did. He's behind both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant in field goal attempts per game. And honestly, he is a lot further down than those other two players. And we don't necessarily have the efficiency marks that we can look from James Harden from the field to say that he deserves to be put in elite scorer category. But it doesn't matter when we are looking at his points per game, which is currently sitting at about 23. Because with James Harden, he's giving you everything else. We know that he's going to be one of the best playmakers in the entire NBA in providing your fantasy basketball roster with assists. And at the same time, he's actually come through with almost a block and a steal per game, where James Harden really has no flaws in his game currently besides turnovers. But we always know that if you're looking at a player like Harden, who's going to be just demanding the ball on so many possessions, and he's going to be creating offense with the ball, that turnovers are going to come directly along with that, and there's nothing you can really do to escape that. All right, so now let's get to our next starter for this team. And we are going to stay with the same team in the Brooklyn Nets, and here we are going to be going with Kyrie Irving. Now, please let me know if I am incorrect in this, but I do not know if we have ever seen three players from the same team be this elite in their fantasy basketball production night in and night out. Because right now with Kyrie, I mean, he's averaging like 28 points a game, and he's averaging 6 assists to go along with that, 4.5 rebounds, 3 threes a game, and elite efficiency for anybody playing in a category league with 52% from the field, 95% from the free throw line. Really, there's nothing that you can look at with Kyrie right now and complain. He's the 7th player in points per game in points leagues. To go along with that, with Kyrie Irving, we have to take the L. I mean, I was coming out here and saying once James Harden was traded to the Brooklyn Nets that we wanted to sell Kyrie Irving, that I was worried on how many possessions he was going to see, that he got to put up a shot at the end of that possession. But it just does not matter. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets are scoring the ball at a historic rate, and this goes along with their defense being so bad. But like I said, guys, I mean, we are creating a fantasy basketball all-star team. Doesn't matter what the defensive underlying metrics are if we are just going to be looking at points scored. All right, so now let's go to our next player that's going to be in the starting lineup. And this player is going to be kind of dependent on if you're playing in a points league or if you're playing in a category league. And this is Giannis Antetokounmpo. And right now with Giannis, I'm sorry, but if you're playing in a category league, you are just kind of having to punt free throws. You have no other option, as Giannis is shooting 63% from the free throw line. And we know with how often he gets to the line at the same time, that number is just going to completely tank you in that category. But specifically for straight up points leagues, Giannis is on a completely different level than any of these other big men that we are going to see, as he is giving you 28 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and we know that Giannis is always going to be coming through with the defensive statistics at the same time. So it's going to be hard to leave Giannis out of this starting lineup unless you are playing in a category league. Then you can make an argument for someone else. All right, but now let's go down to the reserves. And our first player that we are going to be talking about may not actually make the All-Star game himself, but he is definitely in the fantasy basketball All-Star game. And this is going to be Zach Levine. Okay, I know if we went through and told a casual NBA fan Zach Levine's statistics right now for the Chicago Bulls, they would not believe you. I mean, if you went up to someone and you said, "Hey, did you know Zach Levine in Chicago is averaging 28 points a game, over 5 rebounds, over 5 assists. To go along with it, he is shooting over 50% from the field and close to 90% from the free throw line, and over 3.5 3-point shots made a game. I can guarantee you the casual NBA fan would not come close to expecting that. And I know Zach Levine is a very bad defender. I know a lot of people are going to hear this and go, Mason, it doesn't matter what Zach Levine is doing on the court if he's not going to play on the defensive side of the ball. And guys, this is a fantasy basketball all-star game. We are not coming out here and talking about what players actually have the biggest impact on the court for their NBA franchise. If we are just strictly talking fantasy basketball here, Zach Levine has to be at the very top of this conversation. All right, so now in a very similar light to Zach Levine, let's talk about another star on a horrendous team, and this is going to be Bradley Beal. Right here with Bradley Beal, let's not focus in on the efficiency numbers from a category standpoint, where we know, he's going to be giving you a great percentage from the free throw line, but he's going to be asked to put up so many shots for a very bad Wizards team that the field goal percentage really is not going to be there. But the counting stats are. Bradley Beal is doing almost everything for what can arguably be the worst NBA franchise in the league at the current moment, where Bradley Beal is giving you 33 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and we know that he is going to be shooting the 3 ball effectively. I will say with Bradley Beal, I think we may want to actually go out there and see what kind of value that we can get for him in fantasy basketball, because I'm a little bit worried that if he is moved before the deadline, he's not going to have the opportunity to see as many shots as he currently has, where he is averaging about 25 field goal attempts per game. I think that would slightly dip down. The efficiency would most likely go up just as a result of playing alongside some better skill positional players. But right now, Bradley Beal, kind of an elite scorer on a very bad team. And outside of that, I don't really know if there's much else we can talk about. Okay, so now we are repping the Orlando Magic jersey here for Mo Bamba. So let's go down and let's not talk about Nikola Jokic. Let's talk about the Nikola on the Orlando Magic. And right now, he is the lone bright spot on what is a team that's been very, very decimated with injuries. Well, right now, Nikola is averaging 24 points a game and giving you fantastic 3-point production with almost 3 3-point shots a game and almost 12 rebounds, 3.5 assists, a block a game at the same time. So right now with Nikola, I think that he is going to be a consensus player for the real-life NBA All-Star game. But at the same time, for fantasy, we have to say that because he's played 27 games already this season, more than pretty much almost any other player in the NBA. And these numbers have maintained the consistency on a night-to-night basis to the point where not many players in the NBA can come out here and they can say that. All right, so now our next player is going to be someone that obviously is going to be in the real-life NBA All-Star game, Jason Tatum. And here with Jason Tatum, it's just so interesting to seeing how he's operating with the Boston Celtics right now, with Jaylen Brown taking that next step up. I would naturally assume that Jason Tatum would see a bump up in his efficiency from the field. Right now, he is shooting about 45% from the field. I would expect if Jaylen Brown was going to be able to create more open looks for Jason Tatum, that we could have possibly expected this number to go up to 49, maybe even 50%. Regardless, with Jason Tatum, he is giving you elite numbers in almost every single category, where he's making over 3 3-pointers a game. He's making close to 27 points a game at the same time, 7 rebounds, 4.5 assists, a steal and a half a game. And we know Tatum isn't necessarily going to be killing you with turnovers. So Tatum, just very solid across the board. I'm kind of interested to see how he plays in the second half with the Boston Celtics just getting a little bit healthier with Kemba Walker coming on. It's going to be very intriguing to see Jason Tatum, but one of the highest floor players that you're going to be able to find in fantasy basketball, and I don't even know if we can say it's close. All right, so now our next player is not a very high floor player in the slightest. I mean, he is someone that is definitely relying on one category in particular, and this is going to be Miles Turner. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be upset that I'm putting Miles Turner on this list, as he is only averaging about 13 points a night. But if you look at his blocks, specifically if you're playing in a category format, Miles Turner is one of the few players that is going to outright win you a category every single week. Miles Turner is averaging 3.5 blocks per game. Earlier this season, that number was up at 4. And the fact that he's been able to maintain this very high rate of blocks is just something that I have not seen in a very, very long time. So, Miles Turner, let me know what y'all are thinking in the comment section below. But I think we kind of have to include him here on this list. All right, so now I know y'all have all been waiting for one player in particular that I have not mentioned so far. Kind of insulting that I'm mentioning him after Miles Turner, but this is going to be Trae Young. And with Trae Young, yeah, I'm sorry if you were playing in a category league, because he is going to be killing you with his field goal percentage, which is sitting about 42% from the field, but he's going to be elite from the free throw line. We know he's going to be elite from beyond the arc. And he is giving you over 9 assists a game. He's giving you 27 points, 4 rebounds at the same time. Honestly, those are more rebounds than I was expecting when we were advising you to draft Trae Young at the back half of the first round this past offseason. So with Trae, I don't know if he's going to make the real life NBA All-Star game just because of his defense and the Atlanta Hawks factor. But I think just considering fantasy production, just considering what he's able to do on a night-to-night basis, I think we have to put Trae Young in our fantasy basketball all-star game. All right, so now let's go to our next player, and I'm not going to lie. I have no idea how I overlooked him. I have no idea how he was not really popping off on my radar as an elite producer before this. But here with Bam Adebayo, I have no idea how this flew under my radar. I mean, he is shooting 57% from the field, 85% from the free throw line, almost 20 points a game. That was the most surprising thing for me, because we know Bam is not going to be a player that's putting up 15 shots a game. I mean, he's down near 12 shots a game at this point, but the efficiency is just so high that is what's driving up the points per game. And he's coming through. We know he's going to be giving you rebounds with 9 rebounds a game. We know he's going to be giving you assists with 5 assists a game, and he's averaging both a steal and a block to go along with that. So Bam, surprising. I think we have to include him here for our last spot, also considering the fact that he has played 23 games. So if we are looking at 2 players that we need to have a tiebreaker between, just say we are looking at a player that maybe played a little bit less. Just let's go down the list right now and find someone that you could make the argument if their games played were a little bit higher, like an OG and Anunoby. But right now with Bam, I mean, he has the games played. He has the efficiency marks to go along with it, where I think he has to take our last spot. All right, now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. As always, if y'all did, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton, and I will see y'all with the video tomorrow.